Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Wilkins, and I decided to do my advocacy presentation on military veterans. So, vulnerability of veterans. Yeah, veterans suffer from physical, mental, and social issues that make them a vulnerable population. Uh, what makes a population vulnerable? You have basically, it's those that are at a greater risk for poor health. Healthcare access population is also likely to have one or more physical and or mental health conditions. So the issues of veterans, they can include brain damage, anxiety, substance abuse, homelessness, family problems, depression, PTSD, loss of limbs, unemployment, and trouble adjusting to civilian life. So how does this impact veterans? The issues mentioned previously can impact them financially and mentally. More than 8,000 veterans commit suicide each year, which equals to about 22 people a day. The stigma of getting help can impact the veterans' vulnerability. Services to veterans are limited as to what they can do and also what they can receive. And experience with mental health professionals working with this population can affect treatment, which in turn can have a negative impact on the veterans seeking services. So that means, say, as a social worker, I decide to go work in this area. Well, I could be doing that person a disservice because I don't have much experience or knowledge working with that population. So, post traumatic stress disorder is the most common diagnosis with veterans. It can contribute to substance abuse, mainly alcohol, physical abuse towards a spouse, anxiety, and depression. PTSD is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event such as a natural disaster, serious accident, terrorist attack, war, rape, or even been threatened with death, sexual violence, or serious injury. And I want to focus on PTSD because this is the most common disorder that really does affect veterans, and it also feeds into veterans committing suicide as well. So there are four symptom categories of PTSD. You have intrusion, avoidance, alterations in cognition and mood, and alterations in arousal and reactivity. With the first one, intrusion. So the person might have intrusive thoughts such as flashbacks where they're feeling like they're reliving the event. So like everything is just vivid. They might have heart racing, all of a sudden get like sweaty, out of breath because they literally feel like they're back in combat or back in whatever event caused them to have PTSD. Then you have avoidance. This is where they might be avoiding reminders of the event, such as certain sounds, places, or people. A lot of times you'll have 4th of July fireworks going off, and you'll see people put in their signs like a veteran lives here. Um, that way, the surrounding neighbors are a little bit more conscientious of that. The third one, uh, they might suffer from the inability to remember important aspects of the event. So maybe key things from the event that happened and they would forget. And the last one, they might be irritable, having angry outbursts, be self-destructive, or partake in reckless behavior. So the treatment for PTSD is cognitive behavioral therapy. That is the most researched. That is the one that has been proven to be the strongest for reducing symptoms of PTSD in veterans. You have two types of CBT, where the first one is cognitive processing therapy. It focuses on the impact of the trauma and how to cope with the incident. So the therapist will help identify negative thoughts related to the event, help them understand how it causes stress, then help that person replace the thoughts with positive thoughts and also cope with upsetting feelings. Then the next one is prolonged exposure. This one is where the therapist and the client will revisit the trauma repeatedly in a safe setting, and that would help the patient change how he or she reacts to memories of the trauma, as well as learn how to master fear and stress-inducing situations moving forward. Both of these treatments are 12 weeks long. So if non-medicated treatment doesn't work, you have the option to do medicated treatment. And antidepressants are the most solid medication that's used. Currently, sertraline and paroxetine are the only drugs approved by the FDA for the treatment of PTSD. So some resources for veterans. You have your federal resources, and this is just the website if anybody wants to like right click and go to it. But the VA Center for Alabama, the main hub is in Birmingham, and there's actually a satellite location in Huntsville. Then you have the Alabama Department of Veteran Affairs. So the mission is to promote awareness, assist eligible veterans, their families, and survivors to receive from the U.S. and state governments any and all benefits to which they may be entitled under existing or future laws to be enacted. Some programs with the ADVA are the Homeless Vet Program, keeping veterans up to date on laws that will affect them. You have the Honor Guard Program, the Alabama Vet Services Organization, legal aid resources, and suicide prevention. Another important one here in Alabama is the Priority Veteran, which is part of the United Way of Central Alabama. It provides veterans with intensive one-on-one assistance to locate stable permanent housing and links them to resources to gain the skills and knowledge to help them remain financially stable. So if you want to be an advocate for a veteran, it's good if maybe you want to work with the population in your career. So as a social worker, you could go work at the VA, or you could get contracted and just work with the federal government, and you can also work with homeless veterans. If you don't want to work with them, you can volunteer. So there's organizations such as Disabled American Veterans, and this organization gives free transportation to the VA medical facilities like daily. So at my job, I had a patient who was a veteran, and the only thing that was keeping him from going to the VA to get the medical services that he needed was that he did not have transportation. And the main VA in Birmingham is too far for him to go, so he would just never go. And it was a constant back and forth trying to figure out how he was going to get down there and how he was going to afford to get down there. So if we had this program here, that would have really helped out, at least one person. The third one, you can be a sponsor. So sometimes veterans have companion dogs or therapy dogs, and you can actually be a sponsor for that companion dog. The next one, you can help provide a home. So when they come back, they might be disabled, they might have lost a limb or have like brain damage, and so their current houses that they left are no longer suitable for their disabilities. Well, Homes for Our Troops organization will go in and help redo the homes to make them work for the now disabled veteran, or even build them a new home if they no longer have one. And you can also advocate by showing your respect through your actions. So this is just a 3-minute video, well, 4-minute video about what the Veteran Advocacy Center is and what it does and how you can become involved, and also the programs that are offered. And these are my references.